Hello, grade 11s. Welcome to your next tutorial in InDesign. Last day I just showed you how to take this cropped image out of Photoshop, and you just placed it into your InDesign file, and then we just showed you how to just put some text in here. I also, in the first little tutorial, I showed you how to do some things like line spacing. We're going to get a little bit more into that today, and my goal today is to make this type here look a heck of a lot more like the Sports Illustrated logo. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Actually, if I was a professional doing this and I was actually designing and I wanted to reproduce this, I would not do it in InDesign. I would actually redraw it in Illustrator, like those who took grade 10 would know. But this isn't a lesson in Illustrator, so I'm going to do it this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate this into a bit more layers just to make it a bit more functional for myself. I'm going to take our fella here, and I'm going to take our background, and I'm going to put it in its own layer. I'm just going to call it background and paste that in. Okay. So now that's in its own layer, and then I'm shoving it in behind. You can have as much as you want in a layer, but this way, if I have the background in its own layer, I can kind of show and hide stuff as I want. And you know, for now, I'll just move him off to the side because he doesn't have to be in that section. So I'm just going to turn this off, and then we're good. Let's zoom in. And I know I don't have the exact Sports Illustrated font, but I do have. But it's pretty close. Impact is pretty close, and so we're gonna make it look pretty good. So I'm gonna take this and we're gonna put it in its own text box. Why am I doing that? It just gives me a little bit more flexibility, and I'm just going to delete that for now. It'll make sense later. I'll paste. I'm gonna just whoops. There we go. So I just made his own text box, and I just pasted the word sports in. Now we know that if I were to this is the text box for the word sports. I can make that text box bigger or smaller. Okay, I can also like so. I can also, if I use the free transform tool like in Photoshop, I can stretch it out. So let's stretch it out. I'm just going to stretch it out so the letters start looking like what's in the background here. So we'll just position it here, and then I'm just going to stretch it out like so. Okay, we're getting pretty close, like about there. Okay, and just inch that down a bit. It's not bad, eh? It's pretty close. I'm going to add an outline to it, so that'll help. In the first episode or tutorial that I did, we worked with letter spacing. So if I were to click in between these two letters and I did left and right, go Alt, left and right arrow, I can bring that in a bit. Okay. Okay, and then I can tighten up those letters. Let's, just for argument's sake, I'm just going to change that to like a very odd looking color. I'm just going to take my type tool here, and if I here's my actual type tool. If I double click on here, I'm just going to do it to like an odd looking color, just so I can see it against the background. But what I want to do now is I want to make the same stroke around the letters here. So if I select my text, okay, if you double click, it selects the whole word. And I'm selecting the text. If I don't select the text, it'll do these attributes to the text box, so I don't want to do that. I want to click on stroke. Stroke is your outline, and I want to add a stroke. 1, 2. Now, right now, my stroke is the same color as my fill color. That's no good. So, yes, I can change it here. Here's the color, and here's the stroke color, fill color, stroke color. But it's also up here. Here's my fill color, here's my stroke color, and I'm gonna just change the color up here if I want. And I'm just gonna change it to like a different color so I can see it. Now it's getting to be about the same thickness. Let's increase that a little bit. So we're pretty close. Okay. Now the nice thing about InDesign is that you have your choice of having the stroke in the middle of the text, or you can have it just kind of like on the outside of the text, which makes it a lot easier to read. Like for example, the P here, it's getting pretty thin right here. And so if I were to select that to the outside, so the outline only goes to the outside, and that P still looks like the way it was designed. And so that's just a way better way to operate. Okay, so I'm just going to stick that there. And no, it's not going to be perfect. Now, the word itself is slightly bigger. I think it's more important. Yes, that S is like that, but I think it's more important that we just shrink that in. It's about the same size. Okay. Now, the reason why I did them in two different text boxes because I think it would just be a heck of a lot easier if I were just to copy and then paste this down. Change this word, illustrated, make that bigger. Come on. Okay. And then bring this in. And just because it's the font is very tight and it's very close together, it's just easier to, I think, move a text box around than actually move the text around. So I'm just going to tighten that up a little bit. Is that too tight? Now make sure that we are looking like this. Oops. Does that look like that? Yeah, because you don't really see space in between, right? And so I'm just going to, as long as there's, there we go. Okay, and it's a little bit off. And again, it's not going to be perfect. If I wanted to be perfect, I'd be doing this in Illustrator. And this is like an introductory assignment too, isn't it not? All right. So now let's match our attributes. The fill color is going to be white. Or I can do it there, or actually, you know, now that I've got, if I click here, and then I can also go to swatches, and you have like some predetermined colors here if you want. So I could just click on white, and then you can click on your outline here too, and you can, I don't want it black, but I'm gonna have to tone back my black. So let's just tone back our black. I can either find the right color here in my little color spectrum here. I actually know if I do like, I want no color in it and then just maybe about 30% black, I know that that's going to be probably close to the right color. Now let's, here's a little trick for you. If I select this, I hope this isn't too advanced, but if I just click on the eyedropper tool and I click on this, oh, it did everything. It did the font attributes as well. So we're just going to do it again. Oops. Let's just go, fill is white, and then my stroke color, I'll do black, but you know, we're going to back it off to about 30%. All right. Let's take a look now. So if I go back to my layers, it looks like a big mess right now, doesn't it? If I go back to my layers, and if I show my background, which is blocking out this, we're getting a little bit closer. And now our hero is now, we got to put him back on top. Go arrange, right click, arrange, and bring to front. Okay. And then if you really wanted to see what it looks like, we can go to hold down here and goes from our normal view, which has all our guidelines, and then we can go to preview. And so we're going from this to that. Okay. From here, what I would probably do is I'm going to start working on all the text around it. And I want you to go right to as much detail as you can, including like you would create the boxes and then put the type along here. You would have you try and match up the fonts here. And then the only thing I'm going to show you is next day I'm going to show you how to do drop shadows in InDesign. Okay, awesome. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you real soon.